Okay, here we go. It's 6 o'clock. Welcome and good evening. And this is a meeting of the Oxford Town Council. Before we call the meeting to order, I'll get an announcement. Sunset Community Social Hub will be around tomorrow collecting non-perishable food items to support the Oxford Food Bank. This will take place between 10 and 12 tomorrow. Send an email to Oxford staff at sunsetcommunity.ca with your address, and they'll be around to collect it. Yeah, if not that, you can even drop it off at the Sunset Community Center. And with that, I'd like to call this meeting to order and welcome everybody. Before I begin, I would like to thank Arnold McDonald for his almost 4 years of service on town council as both a councillor and as deputy mayor. It's a lot of time put in to be a councillor and deputy mayor, and we appreciate his efforts. Call this meeting to order. First off, there's been one change to the agenda, and that is 4.6 of night. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Okay, moved by Councillor Colburn, second by Councillor Jones. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. First up, approval of minutes. You've all gotten the minutes in your package. The minutes from September 11th, a regular council meeting. Any errors or omissions? No. Council meeting from September the 19th, special council meeting. Any errors or omissions? No. October 3rd, special council meeting. Any errors or omissions in those minutes? None. And October the 9th, special council meeting. No errors or omissions. Hearing none, I declare those minutes approved as submitted. First order of business will be the council swearing in. I'm going to turn the floor over to Linda, and she can start.
Okay, so I'm going to start off by reading off the returning office report. So this year, 2024, marks the first year that the town of Oxford hosted a paper and electronic voting service for the municipal and council scolaire Acadian provincial CSAP, we like to say, election. The voting commenced in Oxford on Monday, October 10th at noon and concluded on Saturday, October 19th at 7 p.m. 60.6% of the eligible electors for Oxford voted, which is a pretty good number for our area. The results of the municipal election held on Saturday, October 19th, 2024 for the town of Oxford are as follows. For office of mayor, there was one position, elected Gregory Henley, 336 votes, and Arnold McDonald received 248 votes. For office of councillor, there were 6 positions, elected Carla Black, 399 votes, elected Olivia Canning Sweet, 300 votes, elected Brenton Colburn, 373 votes, then Melissa Ellis, 287 votes, elected Paul Jones, 359 votes, elected Crystal McNutt, 364 votes, and elected Patrick Moore, 333 votes. Merville Rushton received 277 votes, Diaz Salam, 155 votes, Frank Sellers, 86 votes, and Wendy Turpin, 232 votes. So we want to thank everyone that participated in becoming a candidate for this election. Also, we had a plebiscite question on the voter card as well. So regarding waste, recyclable, and compost service, do you prefer transfer site services over curbside services? For yes, we received 478 votes. For no, 88 votes. So also take notice that with the CSAP election, it was acclaimed and there was no vote during this election just for that. So the electoral district of Truro, Jessica Hinton, was acclaimed. And so that was signed by Meenakshi, our returning officer. So that being said, where a poll was held, it is my role at the first regular or special meeting of the council after the time of applying for a recount has expired, and it expired at the end of the day on October 29th, declare elected the candidates having the largest number of votes with the term of office of each candidate. So with the support of the returning office report, I declare Greg Henley as mayor of the town of Oxford, and I declare the following candidates as a councillor for the town of Oxford: Carla Black, Brenton Colburn, Crystal McNutt, Paul Jones, Patrick Moore, and Olivia Canning-Sweet. Hereby declared. So that going into that, we'll move into our swearing in and code of conduct for the mayor.
Sure.
Okay. We'll proceed over here.
You want me to stand?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Right. So I'm gonna give this to you and I'll get you to read this off here
Okay.
regarding the oath of office.
I, Greg Henley, swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors according to law, and that I am duly qualified as required by law for the office of mayor for the town of Oxford, and that I will truthfully, truly, faithfully, and impartially execute the duties of the office to which I have been elected to the best of my ability and knowledge, that I have not received or will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of any partiality or any other due execution of the duties of my office.
Okay. Now I'm gonna sign those. And fix the seal. Now we have another one here for the code of
Code of
conduct.
conduct.
Yes.
I, Greg Henley, declare that as a mayor of the town of Oxford, I acknowledge and support the elected municipal officials code of conduct. I'll sign that. Dated this 30th day of October, 2024.
For me. All right, so that being said, we'll move on to the swearing in and code of conduct of council. And so our mayor, now elected, will be taking charge over that.
Okay, Olivia, would you come around, please? There we go. You can read that.
Okay. I, Olivia Canning-Sweet, swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors according to law, and that I am duly qualified as required by law for the office of councillor of the town of Oxford, and that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially execute the duties to the office to which I have been elected to the best of my knowledge and ability. And that I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of any partiality or undue execution of the duties of my office.
Just hold on with that for a second. There we go. Next one.
And I, Olivia Canning-Sweet, declare that as a councillor of the town of Oxford, I acknowledge and support the elected municipal officials code.
Yes. Yeah, I sign that. Go. Thank you. Congratulations. Carla? There we go. Turn my stuff up, shouldn't it?
I have to do I, Carla Black, swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors according to law. And that I am duly qualified as required by law for the office of Councillor of the Town of Oxford, and that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially execute the duties of the office to which I have been elected to the best of my knowledge and ability, and that I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of the partiality or other due execution of the duties of my office.
There we go. Yep. This one?
I, Carla Black, declare that as a councillor of the Town of Oxford, I acknowledge and support the elected municipal officials' code of conduct.
Just sign that. Thank you, Carla. Patrick? Yeah.
I, Patrick Moore, swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors according to law. And that I am duly qualified as required by law for the office of council of the Town of Oxford. And that I will truly, faithfully, and imperially execute the duties of the office to which I have been elected to the best of my knowledge and ability. And that I have not received and will not receive any payment or rewards or promise, therefore, for the exercise of any penalty, partiality, or other undue executions of the duties of my office.
Excellent. Take that. Don't run off.
Is this one?
Yes.
I, Patrick Moore, declare that as a councillor of the Town of Oxford, I acknowledge and support the elected municipalities' office code of conduct.
It's already dated.
Oh,
That might
perfect.
sign it. Okay. Congratulations, you're now a councillor.
Thank you.
Brendan? There we go.
I, Brent McCollum, swear or solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors according to law. Meaning of land reference to the sovereign, change and occasion requires. And I am duly qualified as required by law for the office of Councillor of the Town of Oxford. And I will truly, faithfully, and impartially execute the duties of the office to which I have been elected to the best of my knowledge and ability. And that I have not received or will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise, any partiality, or any undue execution of the duties of my office.
Excellent. Linda, and we've got this one.
I, Brent Coleman, declare that as a councillor of the town of Oxford, I acknowledge and support the elected municipal official code of conduct.
I get you to sign that, please. Up here. Congratulations. Thank you. Never assume. There we go.
I, Crystal McNutt, swear or solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors according to law. And that I am duly qualified as required by law for the office of Councillor of the Town of Oxford, and that I will truly, faithfully, and partially execute the duties of the office to which I have been elected to the best of my knowledge and ability. And that I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of any partiality or other undue execution of the duties of my office.
Good.
And I, Crystal McNutt, declare that as a councillor of the town of Oxford, I acknowledge and support the elected municipal officials code of conduct.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you. I, Paul Jones, swear or solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors according to law.
No, skip that.
And that I am duly qualified as required by law for the office of councillor of the town of Oxford. And that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially execute the duties of the office to which I've been elected to the best of my knowledge and ability. And that I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of any partiality or other undue execution of the duties of my office.
I saw him. Here we go.
I, Paul Jones, declare that as a councillor of the town of Oxford, I acknowledge and support the elected municipal officials code of conduct.
Okay, you sign that where it says signed. Congratulations. Thank you. Oh, it's there. You can put this down.
Yes.
We don't need it anymore. Where's my chair?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, you want to narrow down? I get it. That concludes the swearing in. We'll move on. Next up, adopt the model code of conduct regulations. I'll turn the floor over to Linda, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. So everyone on their table has a document that has this blue paperclip. That's the one I'm talking about. So to give you some history on it, this is an item that's required for the town, all towns in Nova Scotia to adopt. The province published the Code of Conduct regulations. Councils are required to adopt the model code as prescribed by December 19th of 2024 this year. A copy of the Code of Conduct Regulations has been included in the council package for council's review prior to tonight's meeting. And the one that is in the package, the document there, includes the Code of Conduct Regulations and also the Code of Conduct for elected officials of the town of Oxford. Please note that the council will be required to secure, appoint, and have on retainer an investigator. This could be done at our next council meeting, not in tonight's meeting. This person would either need to be either a lawyer, law enforcement, or a regulator of some sort. Staff can research this and bring this back to council, just to let you know this will be a second part of this here adoption. A copy of the model code of conduct of the town of Oxford is on everyone's desk, which is just underneath that document. So this is the code of conduct. This is even the one here for the town of Oxford. That's motto. So I do have there a recommended motion for council in order of having discussion. Sorry, missed that.
I can move that.
You'll make the motion?
Sure.
Do we have a seconder?
I'll second.
I have to read it first.
Yes.
Okay. I move that whereas the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing for the province of Nova Scotia has made the Code of Conduct for Municipal Elected Officials Regulations, NS Regulation 220/2024, the regulations, and keep going, I assume. Whereas municipalities are required to adopt the model code of conduct prescribed by the regulations on or before December 19th, 2024, pursuant to section 4-1 of the regulations and section 23A of the Municipal Government Act. Therefore, be it resolved that the council of the town of Oxford hereby repeal and replace the town of Oxford policy number 2017 to 2020 titled Code of Conduct for Elected Municipal Officials, CAO, and adopt the model code of conduct as set forth in Schedule A to the regulations, which shall be titled Code of Conduct for Elected Officials of the town of Oxford.
Good. So that is the motion. We have a seconder by Councillor Jones. Any questions or discussion?
This retainer person, is this somebody different, or can it be just who we have a lawyer?
Well, it's got to be somebody that is impartial has nothing to do with anybody on council.
But can it just be our regular lawyer that we already have?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
yes.
Doesn't have to be the lawyer though. It could be someone of law enforcement or
Right.
some type of regulator person.
And we don't have to decide that tonight.
Not
No.
tonight,
I
before
did,
December 19th though.
and I did ask what would happen if we didn't pass this, and they would cut off our funding from the
Oh,
profits.
So we're gonna make sure we pass it.
Yeah, just in case someone's thinking of putting up a fuss.
Right.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Is there any other questions? All those in favor of the said motion, please raise a hand and say aye. Aye. Contrary minded. Motion carried. Okay, next on our list is selection of deputy mayor.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay. Time for discussion.
yep, go ahead and I'll turn the floor over to Linda again.
So thank you. So as per our deputy mayor policy, the first meeting following an election, council shall select a deputy mayor to hold the office to October 31st of the following year. So now what will happen next is the mayor will open the floor to members of council for nomination, and the steps are written down what would expect in two different scenarios.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to open the floor for nominations for the position of deputy mayor. Yes, Councillor Jones.
I move to elect Councillor Carla Black as deputy mayor for the town of Oxford with the term ending October 31st, 2025.
Okay,
I'll second that.
no.
Oh,
you
we have
don't.
to do nominations.
You do nominations.
Okay.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, I think I have the right to declare her.
You can declare. is
Yes,
she
I
comfortable?
declare
Yeah.
Councillor Black as deputy mayor.
Was she
Congratulations.
acceptable? Okay. That was easy.
Oh, that was easy. Okay. Next up, selection of boards and committees. I think we discussed this a little earlier. Where anybody that's interested in boards or not interested in boards you're on, please let me know before the next meeting and not 2 days before the meeting, but We have to sit down and have this ready for the next council meeting, which takes place the last,
November 26th.
yes, November 27th. So anyway, we're going to defer that to the next meeting. Okay? Next on the agenda, amend motion made September 19th regarding transfer from general operating to operating reserve. I'll turn the floor over to Linda.
Thank you. So on September 19th, 2024, a special council was held and a motion was made in regards to the transfer from the general operating fund of $306,276 for the year 2023-24 to the operating reserve fund. So here I'm going to present Ruth Ann. She's going to get into some details on why we're looking to amend this motion.
Yes, these were omissions that Baker Tilly noticed after the fact. The revenues, the amount transferred from general operating to reserves has been decreased by $9,391 from $306,276 to $296,805. The revenues in the general operating decreased because Baker Tilly were originally recording the loss of the disposal of the backhoe at the consolidated level. Once Baker and Tilly allocated it directly to the fund itself, general operating, it was reduced to it reduced the total revenue by the $9,391. There was another error noted, and there was a restatement done for this, and it's a note number 2 in the financial statements, and it's for the value of the Cumberland Joint Service Management Authority. It was overstated in the prior year, 2022-23. At the time of finalizing the audit in 2022-23, Baker Tilly were under the impression that there was still the intention of the CJSMA would remain in operation for a certain extent. And so during the 2023-24, Baker Tilly realized that this was not the case and therefore adjusted the value of the asset for the 2022-23 year to reflect the new estimates. So that is also seen in the financials.
Okay. Anyone have any questions for Ruth Ann regarding that? So we need a motion.
We do. And there's a recommended one on this.
There's a recommended one there.
Under the 4.5.
There. So,
This one here.
yes.
I move to amend the previously approved motion on September 19th, 2024 of the transfer from the general operating fund of $306,276 for the year 2023-24 to the operating reserve fund in the amount of $296,885.
I second that.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Jones, second by Deputy Mayor Carla Black. Any questions? Comments? All those in favor of the motion, please raise a hand, say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Thank you. Now, next up, 4.6, request for decision asset management plan update. It's an unbudgeted item. We're going to go back to Ruth Ann. Floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay, what I'm asking here is to consider putting 2 more items on this year's capital budget that were not mentioned on the capital budget originally. I've estimated where our capital budget will be by the end of the year, and it looks like we're going to be under budget by $230,000. So I believe these 2 items could be spent quite comfortably within this year's amount. 2 items would be approximately $12,000 to have Ames update our asset management program. I'll give you a little review of that in a moment. And as well as $70,000 estimated to draw up plans to replace the water main, storm system, and pavement on Main Street. Now the first item has to do with the second one as well. And I just want to give everyone a little brief review of this asset management plan, because it's been a while since we spoke about it. And if you remember back in 2020-21, the Public Works Supervisor and the CAO Supervisor at the time, myself, we participated in the cohort groups with other municipalities to develop asset management program. And with the assistance of Matt DeLorme at Ames, a computer program was developed to give all the municipalities a asset management plan. Now, to give you a little review on who Ames is stands for the Atlantic Infrastructure Management Network, and they are a federally incorporated non-for-profit organization comprising a network of individuals and organizations having interest in or responsibility for the management of municipal infrastructure in Atlantic Canada. Basically, they help municipalities prioritize the asset replacements within their budgets and their service expectations. So they have been a very integral part of our asset management plan. I've been in contact with Matt DeLorme quite a bit over the last 4 years. Now, we also received, in order to get this up and running, we received financial assistance from the Federation of Canadian Municipalities at that time. So that was 4 years ago. We used maps from Dillon's, updates from our Public Works Supervisor, financial information from our statements to develop a 5-year plan. And this involved making detailed inventories of all of our infrastructure, our water, our sewer, our storm, our pavement, our buildings as well. The inventory is very detailed, right down to the pipe size, age, the material. It's quite a massive spreadsheet of information. We also identified our level of service expectations within our town at that time, and also the risk of consequence of failure if pipelines fail, right? Certain areas have a higher risk than other areas because you have businesses relying on it and such. So we also took into consideration the budget constraints and our reserve situation. So we put this all together in a computer program to prioritize the projects. Now, I just gave you a little snippet of what just to give you a little review, because you did see this stuff before. The map that shows just one part, our water supply, because that was the biggest concern for the aging. That's a map on there around that's for the aging water infrastructure that we have. That was the main concern that came out of this program. And you can see all the red. The red is
bad usually.
the aging water system. It's not just aging to have to do with the condition of the pipe that's there, this and that. So at the end of that year project, we met several times, and he came up with a report of how to prioritize our projects. And that's on your next page. And as you can see, we did, and they say, don't have to follow the reports. If you have a lot of water breaks in an area, you should pay attention to that area, because you're spending a lot of money with your public works crew to fix those areas. Now, when this first come out, there was a spot in Lower Water Street that needed fixed, and that our own public works crew did most of that. I'm not sure if it all got done. An update would tell us. The next project was Main Street, which is the one I'm hoping to do next. That's from James right up to Hanlon Street. but it's on Main Street. And this was all supposed to be done within 5 years, so it should have been all done by 2027. We probably won't get all this done by 2027, but the street, next priority was Waverly Street, and the one after that was Foundry. Now, we pushed Foundry ahead, and Foundry has been completed this year. So we pushed it ahead because there were so many breaks there at the time, and we were having for a lot of complaints. Where at that particular time, Main Street was not having a lot of problems, although it was currently before that. So that's sort of a review. You'll notice the cost here. This is before COVID. And just to give you an example, on Foundry Street, they estimated it would come in at 378,000. It costs 1.6 million to do Foundry Street.
Wow.
So it was 4 times as much as what they expected. The costs went crazy during COVID. So this is one of the reasons I would like them to do an update now instead of wait till the end of 5 years. I'd like to get some new costs in there. I did an estimate myself for Main Street, and before COVID, it came in at 1.165 million, and I estimated, take that 4 times, it's going to be $4.6 million to do the water main and the storm. The sewer is in good condition, does not need to be touched. But he really suggests that we do not pave Main Street until you do the water main. Because, well, to give it, a lot of this stuff in red was laid in 1930, according to the asset management plan. And so it's almost 95 years old. The lifespan of pipes is 75 years. So thanks to the public works crew being able to keep it rolling and going as long as they have. And so, you know, kudos to them, but there does come a time where you just need to replace it and update. So we're trying to do a plan so that the areas that have the highest amount of failure and consequence get done first. Main Street would be that one in this situation. So, let's see. Basically, with the AIMS program, I was kind of hoping we could get it done for free after, but the last time I asked him to update, he says, okay, well, now there's a price tag associated with the updates because he has done a lot of work for us without any cost added. I've called him several times over Foundry Street, several times over anything. And he's been very helpful. So anyway, he said he would update our system, put all the new stuff we've done in there, put the new costs in there so we can get a better feel for what the actual cost might be so we can budget accordingly. Because even though you get a cost figure from when you get the actual plans done, you have to kind of know before that to be able to plan just a ballpark figure. And it's nice to have a 5-year plan because then you can plan how much you're going to put in your reserves. Also, be doing a water review this year, and I'm supposed to have all the budget items into our consultants to take to UARB by the end of November. And I would like to be able to have some good numbers to give them for these upcoming projects for the finance.
Also,
So those are
grants too, right?
Pardon me?
It will also help with grants too if we update our.
Yeah. He also, will help train staff to update these spreadsheets themselves. Right now, we're not at a point where I feel confident to do that myself, and I feel we still need their help. They'll update the inventory, update the database, relook at your service levels, your consequence levels, complete a brand new plan for the next 5 years, identify any funding opportunities for each proposed project, and determine the demands on the reserve and any debt that you may have to take. They also could leverage capital funding through the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. And like if you have storm drain replacement, that's climate has a climate lens to it. There's funding out there for 80% of the project, up to $1 million.
When did we do this originally?
So what?
When did we do this originally? 2020?
2021. We actually got the report the first part of 22.
Because maybe we should put this in the budget like for every 3 years to update it or something.
It wouldn't be a bad idea.
And maybe
because
they can
it is
give us a
very
couple of free ones
complicated.
after we pay them this
Yeah.
again this time.
Yeah. I mean, they would like municipalities to be able to do it on their own. We're such a small staff here, and it's quite an undertaking. I have looked it over, so basically, and then my other want was to get a start on the Main Street, actually get plans drawn up if everyone feels comfortable with that, just because it was actually according to a plan should have been done by now, and it will be the next project to be done for the water main replacement, and at least you would have the actual cost, and if funding came available, you'd have it ready to put
Is
it
there
out
funding,
ready
is there
made.
funding available to do this?
If we wait to next year for the PSAP to come out, will be a whole other year. And if there's funding next year to do it, and if it's really large funding and we're able to do it, it will still depend on our own financial situation. Then we'll miss it.
Is there funding for the plans though, like to do the plan that she's talking about?
Well, there
Like-
is funding, if we've gotten funding from PSAP before, but it doesn't come available to
Okay.
April.
Go ahead.
Question. So at the start of your presentation, you had mentioned 70,000. What was that for?
That would be for drawing up the plans.
For
Main
drawing up
Street.
the plans.
Yeah, and the 12,000 is for aims to update our asset management.
So that's for the water and the roads
That's for the water and the pavement and the storm drain.
and so on, right?
Yeah,
Sidewalk.
for Main Street.
Sidewalk too? Or,
No,
no, not sidewalk,
So we'd
Questions?
have to look
Well-
at the sidewalk after that.
probably.
Go ahead.
I do have a question or more of a comment. I'm concerned about spending $12,000 on a plan that only lasts 2 years. When we know, we have a plan basically set for the next 5 years of where we want to spend our money. I think it would be prudent just to do spend the 70,000 and put the 12,000 into that. We know what we're going to spend our money on the next 3,
But
4 years.
we can't get funding though.
Well,
If
we can
have a
use this,
guess,
we can use this plan. We have a plan.
but the plan's nowhere close.
It's outdated though. I mean,
That means you're gonna go and ask for 1.1
No, you
million.
ask for 40, you get the drawing up of the plan done at 70,000 and that's what you put in for.
and that is one of the options that he brought to me yesterday. I talked to him quite a lengthy time yesterday about Main Street and the costs involved. And he said that is one option because we do have this 5-year plan. You can just go ahead and do it. The problem being is I foresee unless this asset management program is updated, and there's been so much change in the pricing and in different areas, like me just taking the figure and times it by 4 might not be the right figure at the end of the day, because he would do it in much more detail.
Yeah, but I don't know, I look at it as if you're building a house 5 years down the road and you're getting the price now, it's not going to be right. The same as you paid $12,000 for this plan. Next year it's outdated because everything's gone up that much. I mean, I think it's a lot of money.
I agree, Councillor Jones.
You know, I
Absolutely.
think it's a lot of money.
Yes.
Is it of any use for us getting grants if we update the?
Well,
the
this,
asset
Matt DeLorme,
management?
who's with the Ames,
Yes,
that's one of his jobs is to find grants for us and help us with the application portion of the grants.
See,
So
it's a
that's what
tool
we're
we
paying for.
use.
Yeah.
Yeah, we use that tool to help us organize and put descriptions
The
together.
80%, yeah, he just got a grant for another municipality with this 80% deal for climate lens on a project. That's the thing, you have to have the lens on where the money's at on the different grants, so I mean, you can have Dylan do it, or we can have, this is another outside engineering, non-for-profit company that is willing to put their spin on it, so you know that it's not just being done by someone who's making profit from.
Does this asset management program, when we update something, so now we know where this pipe, we thought it was, but now it's in this location, do we put that in this Ames?
See, that would all.
Yeah, see, I think we should update it. I think it should be in the budget and we should be updating it every 2 years or 3 years or whatever, so
It
that.
should be updated every year, actually, at the end of every season, you should go in, if I had the skill set to do it, I would, but it's a fairly complicated computer program, it's something you'd have to learn. And they're constantly trying to teach you those things, but it's a time thing.
Cause we're ripping up places and then we realized that the pipe wasn't where we thought it was, and then and I know when they did that line across from the OCC, there was question where they were gonna have to even dig to get across that street, and if now we know where it is, it should be in that program.
Yeah. And the beauty of having something online or in a computer, and if you keep it updated, it's only as good as the information you give it. So if you're not gonna update it, then you might have a bunch of papers that you're reading through trying to find something that 20 years ago, which is how we've always done things in the past, and it doesn't work. Because you can have boxes and boxes of paper. And it's the same with the computer program. If you don't keep it updated, then it's
Another thing, if I may,
go
we do
ahead.
another project and there's drawings made up, we need to make sure they're correct. Founder Street, there was quite a few discrepancies on those plans. They were wrong.
well, we can only work with what we got, right? And if you can help us out, Brenton, and
Nobody asked.
if you know,
I went over, they were digging up Birchwood Road.
yeah, but I mean before they're digging it up.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Well, I
this
didn't know
needs
they
to
were-
happen at the planning stage.
Well, I thought they had all the information they needed. I went over and they're digging up Birchwood Road. I said, what are you looking for? They were gonna hook up to a 4-inch cast iron pipe that's 100 years old.
So I mean, when they revamp these plans, how do they get different information than what they've already got if they're not going to actually, you know, take a backhoe and dig in and see exactly what the size of that pipe? We're going off of the information that has been here originally.
Can't we do seismograph?
What has been, through maps of Dylan, and when we went down, did these cohorts, they had maps all out. And, the public works supervisor at the time went around, looked at them all and said, no, this is this, and no, that's not there, or there's another thing there. And that's what we have to go by, right?
And to revamp these plans, are they going to do the same thing again?
They won't start from plan A again, they will revamp them and add since then we've done work on lower
And
water.
then put the new costs
Any
in?
work that Nick has been doing, I've been asking him to send an act to Lauren every year. And now we have Foundry Street, so that would be changed.
Is there a way we could ask that company to give us like a yearly fee and just automatically do it?
I don't know, this is the first time they've asked me money to
Right.
update it, and I've been in contact with them a lot over the last 4 years with different information. And, so I'm not sure.
It's obviously a
That's
very
what
useful
the
service
business
for
is
you.
doing.
You two
Yes.
enjoy it, so we,
Well, it gives you a priority, like to be able to prioritize things, because you have a lot of streets that need paved, you have a lot of water lines that need, what needs done first and why. and the program does fix it.
It would just be nice to like, I know some of the places we like that HR program or whatever, you have so many calls per month. Like, it would be nice to have something set by this company that says every year you pay us this, we're gonna do this.
Flat fee.
Yeah, basically. You can call us 10 times that year or something.
Because if not, should we be looking into somebody maybe filling that position in Oxford?
Oh, this is cheaper if you base it over 4 years, so
Right.
$1,000 a year. And it's like getting.
They gave us a
We're gonna be looking for it every year. Like, if we can't find our pipes in the ground, that's a problem. I know I'm new here, but like, that sounds like a big problem right now.
Well, it's so much information that hasn't been written down, it hasn't been recorded in one area. That's, gotta have that information somewhere, so, because people.
We have to.
So,
It's up to the times.
sorry to speak out of turn, but Councilman Brenton was on town works for 25 years. Where was the information when he was working on that? Where's all this information gone?
I come here, I think nothing, basically had nothing to work with, and after I came here, I wrote down everything. The plans that we have now are stuff that I document.
So you have it for the 25 years that you were
Right.
working.
But it's all,
It's all-
hand, it's not computerized, it's
Yeah.
not in, like, we
No,
need
but
to get it up.
it is now.
Well, it's
It
started.
was 4 years
It's-
ago.
It's old.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, 4
being
years ago
updated.
it was
We just want
updated.
to bring it up to date, basically. It was what Ruth Ann is looking for, is to get this updated and keep it updated. So 10 years down the road, when we're not here, somebody else can say, this should be done. Let's look it up.
If Britain wants to come in and look at this information online and say, no, that's not right, then I think, like, Matt's more than happy to change it, but we have to have a reason to
Right.
change it.
Right.
We can't just change the information on there because we don't know us.
Mhm. But we will know if we keep it updated. Like,
Yeah,
like we gotta
that's-
fix
it's
it
for
now and then
future.
keep fixing it,
Yeah.
for
But
future.
my point is, who is going to update it that has any more knowledge than what the system we have now, other than the pricing of the parts?
Well, all of the
It's
stuff
all
Nick
the
has done in the last
information
4 years.
Yeah,
Just
well,
the
that we
information
should be
we
able,
give
we should be
No,
able
they're
to
not
do.
able to do it. That's the problem. They
Ames
don't
has
have
to
the
do it.
skill
Yeah.
set to do it.
Okay.
both.
Yeah.
It's quite a spreadsheet,
Yeah.
Paul. It's
Yeah.
not something that you can just.
So now we're back to Nick having papers
Yeah.
and we need to get those papers in the computer
Yeah.
system so it's updated.
Nick should be able to, like, eventually, we should be able to update it ourselves, but it takes some learning. And you have to see it through to know how it affects, because you have a worksheet that is a little bit like the financial report we deal with. Has about 10 different tabs and they all affect one another. So you have to be sure you're putting the
Formulas.
information in the right block.
And he wasn't part of the original exercise. That was a different.
Nick wasn't.
Yeah.
Right.
But we
Okay,
should
any
be able
other-
just to see
The only
what-
thing that the town would have documentation on are some of the old lines that are 100 years old. There's
That's
drawings that
basically
were
all.
made back.
That's
Unfortunately,
all, that's all of them.
a lot of them. Yeah.
All the
So,
sewer was put in and the water was put in back in the 1970s.
I remember.
That's all documented. There's a set of plans of the township.
So those would be in that Ames thing.
They got their maps from Dylan. And Dylan did a whole session in town here doing maps of all the pipes, I'm no
Mhm.
expert on it, so I can't verify.
So is that-
it's-
But they're not going to do it against the other firm that's going to do it this time.
Well, Dylan never did it. Dylan
Okay.
just, that was a project they were doing
Oh, okay.
and they just got the information from Dylan. We made the maps up and then showed them to us, and at the time, the public works supervisor went around and did what he, to the best of his knowledge, if it wasn't right, to correct it. But I mean, Brenton, you can correct them more, you're more than welcome to. I just, we have to have something to go by when we're prioritizing.
That's what we have to work with. Yeah, that's what we had at the time.
And for grants,
But
right?
as a counselor, I'm not supposed to go near the project or try to tell anybody what to do. But when the contractor calls me, that's when I went to Foundry Street. And they asked me about the same when they did the project up here.
But you could come in and see the
The
information.
plans. the plans.
Beforehand.
Yeah.
The before.
Well,
before
and the
goes.
previous CAO told me that I shouldn't go on that site and I wasn't supposed to. So that was the information that I got at the time. We won't go back to there very much, but I was basically told to stay away from the project. So,
It'd be nice to have help with planning,
Yep.
for sure.
Anyway, anybody else got questions for Ruth Ann? Someone want to make a motion regarding Ruth Ann's request for 12,000 for updating the asset management? plan?
Two motions or?
Two amounts in one emotion, yeah. One for, was it 12,000 for the plan?
For the update of the plan and.
Should we do two motions in case one gets?
For 70,000
Shut down.
to start the process of getting the plans done for the Main Street.
The framework for the upgrade on Main Street. Okay,
I'll do the Ames one since I think that's a good idea. 12,000?
12,000.
I move that we spend $12,000 to upgrade the Ames asset management program.
Do we have a second?
I second it.
Okay, any questions, comments? Not that we haven't had the discussion already. Okay, all those in favor of the motion as presented by Councillor McNutt, please raise your hand, say aye. Aye. Contrary minded. Motion carried. Okay, next up, 70,000 for the,
To start the planning for
Planning.
Main Street to Hanlon corner, James to Hanlon, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, James to Hanlon. Main Street.
you give us a jump on it.
My only question with that one,
Yeah.
so we can't get funding to help us with that 70,000?
Well, that's what my question was going to be.
Yeah,
Well, the funding we've had in the past is already signed, it's been briefly set out, and that doesn't start until April, you know, I'm saying
Okay.
you can wait. But what our experience has been, is if you're planning, by the time you get the
Right.
sign drawn
Yeah.
up.
You
Yeah,
missed the,
you're
you
right.
missed the
Yeah,
funding
Yes,
amount.
yeah,
Yeah,
funding
sorry, you
comes
said
up
that,
right
yeah,
away.
want
totally
But
right.
everybody's so
Project.
anxious for Main
Yeah.
Street to get done.
Yeah, let's start
If we
it.
had a big funding, it might not get done next year.
Mhm.
If we can't find the funding money, it won't get done. But
this will give us
if
a
we
head start.
could,
Yeah,
I'd
more
hate
head
it-
start.
us not to be.
So
able
we've got
to
Ames
pursue.
telling us how much it is. We've got $70,000 into the plan, so we're ready to go if somebody wants to give us money.
Yeah, if there's change of government gonna happen next year.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So.
You never
Go ahead, Councillor Jones.
Question. We just have a study being done right now on across the highway, correct?
Mhm.
Have we got any results of that yet?
No, it's still in works between the developer and the contractor.
But my point is that we've spent money or had money spent on a study that's going to come back for a potential project. Are we spending too much money on another study? Because if a project or funding does come available, we may want to do that project across the highway because we may have help from investors where if we do another project and spend our money, we're not going to be able to pitch in and do that other project. I'm just saying that we're kind of got 2 or 3 projects on the go here, and I think we should think about what we've already spent money on a study before we spend money on another study, and then we have too many options to spend our money and we don't know what to do.
Do we have any money invested in the Cross the Highway project, or that was?
No,
Grant?
we don't, but does that still make sense though? I mean, we had investors do that study on behalf of the town.
Sure.
So then we're gonna spend our money to do another study that ties up any money we have, and if that potential project comes available, we're not gonna be able to do anything about it, because we've already spent $70,000 and put our sights on something else.
there's gonna be a substantial price tag out there too.
That's right, but what I'm saying is that maybe we're trying to do too much, and we should figure out which way we're going across the highway before we spend money someplace else.
I'm just gonna put a little plug in there for the old infrastructure thing again. People won't stop complaining about Main Street being such a wreck.
Mhm.
If we go
No, that's a valid point. That's a valid point. I'm just bringing
I'm just
everything up for
saying
discussion.
that, the new stuff is great. But, there's a lot of old stuff
Mhm.
that needs looked after. too. So
So
This
what
was
about
our
the,
plan.
If we can't get across the highway, how are we gonna, from our
so,
town?
so the,
They are good with.
the province came out with funding for the trunk roads. Does that impact what we're doing? Like, this is a,
and that
This
would be 50%
considered
of the
trunk,
paving.
so 50% of the paving.
Paving,
the
okay.
paving
Well,
also.
that's paving, but that's a big.
So-
Still, absolutely,
yeah.
100%, just not
So if the
50% of the
wa-
project.
the
No,
water-
And that's
well,
what I
we-
don't
we
know
get
the
50 cent
breakdown.
dollars,
of,
but then we
like
get
our outstanding.
turns into
Something else.
25 cent
Storm
dollars
drains.
on the
Yeah.
paving.
Right,
Yeah.
But
right.
I still think, I mean,
Because I.
So
So is it
think
just
better
updating
deal.
the storm drains?
They need to.
Well, the
be-
storm drains make it climate lanes.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of.
that's where we're
grant
getting our money.
is available.
Okay.
Yes.
Did he say they were quite small or?
No, I
undersized?
mean, I just,
That's
I
not a
just,
good point.
No.
We get to-
Yeah, and the storm
no,
drains
no,
are
I
small here
realize
in
that,
town, so
but I
they
mean,
do
we,
on Main
we've
Street,
got
so they do need replaced.
3 or 4 plans.
But, I mean.
The storm
you get-
drain, the main line itself isn't small, it's the catch basins. When they put the catch basins in years ago, they put a 4-inch pipe.
Exactly, yeah, you said that.
The main line itself is.
Go
8
ahead.
inch.
I move
Yeah,
that we
okay.
spend $70,000 to start the
Study,
study on Main Street
renewal.
catch basins, water, paving.
I second that.
Okay, now we can have discussion on it.
Okay.
Should we-
So, and how much of Main Street is it again?
It's from James to Hanlon,
And I threw.
McDermott's, up to McDermott's.
Okay.
That was
Main
the
Street.
stretch.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've got to do something soon.
We do, yeah, I think
Yeah, I
so.
mean-
We're gonna have a revolt on our hands if we don't,
And
so.
it's
No,
on
I
our
mean,
plan.
Yeah.
I'm just bringing stuff
We'll
up.
have a January 6th place.
That's-
We don't want that.
We probably
we
paid
storm
for the
the
plan,
devil.
so we
Yeah.
should use
Yeah.
it.
So with that study, is it gonna be like the blueprints with that study or what?
Gives
what's the
us
70,000?
costing, yeah, it
It's a
lays it
cost.
all
We'll know
out.
what the job will approximately cost.
Approximately.
Yes, and then we'll
And
know
then
who to go for.
detail,
Yeah, details, who to go for money. for
It'll
this.
still have to go to
Usually
tender and then
tender
that'll
ready.
change
Yeah.
things, but
And
at
the
least it'll give us. a
Tender ready as
ballpark.
well.
well, we'll have
usually.
hard evidence this is what's gonna happen to
Well,
us.
and you can't go after any funding or any grants unless you have that study done.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
So this
Let's
gives
do
us a
it.
foot up.
Let's do it.
Okay, we've got a motion on the floor. Any other comments? Then let's take a vote. All those in favor of the motion is made by Councillor McNutt. Please raise a hand and say aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Okay, next up. Correspondence email from Brenda Robertson. Do you want to refresh our memories on that?
Yes, so this was an item that was brought to council just before election time, so we decided to bring this back to the newly elected council. So there was a message from Brenda Robinson back in September of 2024. So I'm just going to read to you the letter. So, and it is attached in the council package. So Greg, I have an idea for the town to develop the property on Water Street. The idea is a row of micro shops on the bottom with tiny apartments on the top with balconies that overlook the river. If we don't touch the town lot directly on the corner, then we will have 10 shops and 10 apartments. I know we could get some funding to help with the project because we could be adding much needed housing and 10 micro shops would be affordable for people to rent. I would add a lot of value to the town. Her idea would be to match the facade with Eric's look across the street. It'd be a fantastic addition to the town. She doesn't have the funds to do this she certainly would like to help coordinate it. A town project with some funding and support from possibly our local bank. She thinks that we could swing that. So the idea was to bring this up at council for discussion.
So this is the property across from the Giant store?
It's right beside the blue chair, the big blue chair, that building there.
Okay.
And then there's
Like
land
that building,
there.
yeah, and the
Yes.
land that's there. Wouldn't they be worried about erosion there with the water in it? So we'd have to build it up.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think there's some carbon environment issues, perhaps, like if you're by the river, but I don't know much about the development on that.
And how many store shops? Was it 10, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, she mentioned.
And she wants
Yeah.
the town to be responsible.
coordinating a plan.
Basically doing it all.
Absolutely.
I don't think that it's a realistic expectation at this point in time.
I don't think it's a great idea.
No.
Place. Anywhere else on Water Street would be fine.
Well, first of all, you can't even get anybody to tear that building down because of the river.
Yeah.
No
There's
contract.
very
So,
little
so to
parking
build
as
there,
well.
That's a private enterprise. I
Yes.
think.
Absolutely. That's not a town.
Yeah, I mean, if the town could get.
It's a good
involved
idea,
in
just not for us.
Assisting,
oh, it's a great idea.
pushing through paperwork and whatnot, but it's not a, we don't.
No,
have
if
the-
somebody else
we don't have
wants
the
to,
manpower.
if someone else wants to take it on, by all
the
means,
money.
absolutely.
Yeah, for the money, for the call.
No, and Mayor,
So
we
the
have to
ask-
make darn sure that if there's a plan, it's
Yeah.
gonna get done.
Yeah, that's
The
right.
town can't spend a bunch of money and then I'll find out it comes to a screeching halt.
No.
So the ask here is the idea for the town to develop the property on Water Street is the ask.
I don't
Yeah.
feel we have the time nor the personnel to work on a project like this at this time.
Or the funds.
Or the funds, really. I mean, we're not, we do infrastructure, we don't do buildings,
Yeah.
I guess. So, I mean, anybody who came forward with a plan, we could certainly assist them when we could.
A private developer would have.
Yeah,
Be
a
involved.
private development
Yes,
project, I
absolutely.
think.
Like the community center, a
Yeah.
private group came
Yeah.
in, we helped them in any way we could, and
Yeah.
it's going up, but we didn't build it.
No,
Well, the street could have any development. Town just can't get.
No.
involved, so.
Mhm.
okay, so that's a
Alright.
consensus of council?
Yes.
Yeah.
All good?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, next up, correspondent from Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities. Let's go back to Linda.
All right, so we did receive an SFM, sent out an email to all the newly elected and re-elected municipal officials. So on behalf of Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities, which we call NSFM, they would like to extend their warmest congratulations to all the newly elected and re-elected municipal officials across Nova Scotia. Your commitment to public service is deeply appreciated, and they look forward to supporting us as you lead and represent your communities. At NSFM, they're committed to working with you to foster strong, vibrant municipalities that meet the needs of all Nova Scotians. So as you embark on this important journey, please know that they are here to offer resources, advocacy, and collaborative platform to help you succeed in your role. So there's a fall and spring conference are great opportunities to learn from and engage with your colleagues from around the province. The fall conference and annual general meeting will take place November 26th to 29th in Halifax. They are encouraging to learn more about this important event. The registration is now open and all that. These are items that these conferences are something that council is interested in. We can definitely look at budget time for as well in the spring and the fall. But it's a great way of networking with your fellow Nova Scotians elected officials. It's really good, as well as AMANS. They are not the NSFM and RANS. There's one other. Yeah. Yeah, yes, UNSM as well. Yes, yes. So those are all great organizations to work together. Yeah. So yes, anyway, so that is attached in the council package as well.
Okay, so I think that everything. Different scheme, plus one is.
Oh, can I?
Anyway, before I adjourn the meeting, I want to remind everybody that. Social housing, you know, like in food bank wall, between 10 and 12. With that, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.